But what does it look like to have genuine humility in our leadership? Not false, where we just don't want to show the truth of how much pride we are seated in, and not a lack of self-worth that is making it look like we're humble. How does God desire for us to lead in humility? You must have a very secure identity in God. Your identity needs to be rock solid in that you're a child of God and in who God says you are. And I think one of the biggest one that I am learning is where the source of your identity is. Because when things get thick, when the cookie crumbles, when the project fails, when the people who you're trying to empathize so much with turn on you, at that point, what's left is what your identity was in. And if this was about you, then you will actually see the truth of whether you are actually leading in humility. You will see the truth of whether you are genuinely serving these people or not. For us to be authentically humble, it will only happen if we're very clear of the vision God has given to us. Otherwise, we risk making it about ourselves. We risk making it about our accomplishments and miss seeing God at work. We need a God-sized vision from God and a constant remembrance that it is God who is leading us through it. It is His project. It is His leading. It is His power. It is the only way any of this happens.
My name is Twaro. I'm from Joburg, South Africa. I was part of the cohort last year and now alumni and also serving on the RG South African board. Some key takeaways from the conference was one with the Dr. Reverend. He spoke about going through the story of Abraham in a business lens. So that's very key for me in a very different way to look at that story that I've known since I was a child. But for the first time, looking at it through that economics and business lens. I have a finance background, I'm an accountant, so it was very fascinating for me. He went through that story telling us about counterparty risks and opportunity cost, concepts that I know, but never thought I would see it in the Bible and in the story. So that was a major, major highlight for me.
Hi everyone, Kathy here. I'm based in Kuala Lumpur. And I think coming into the conference, one thing that I wanted was to be challenged. And I got exactly that. But one key highlight would be the seemingly paradoxical work between leadership and vulnerability or weakness. I think there is a few Old Testament figures that were kind of mentioned. And one of the panelists mentioned that, yes, when we are being vulnerable, it is also not to be done in isolation. I think that's quite impactful for me personally. When you think about being vulnerable, you tend to think about isolation, you being alone, hopelessness, and all of that. So I think to kind of like bring that vulnerability and show leadership quality in that sense was quite interesting thought for me.